only going to discuss two of our projects, not all of the projects, because we have a portfolio of these in the Great Basin of the U.S. I will be making forward-looking statements, and this is Liberty Gold. The company's geologists, led by Moira Smith and a brilliant set of scientists, they're responsible for the discovery, de-risking, and sale, or discovering, de-risking, and actually build in-house two of the last run-of-mine oxide heap leach operations in the world. Their track record is impeccable, and they're the brains behind the company at picking these assets and meeting our criteria. With regards to capital markets, we're funded. We raised about $11.5 million last fall, and the projects are shown in order of priority. GOLDSTRIKE and Black Pine would be the top two, the only two I'm going to talk to today. The Kinsley is another one, and then we have another project called Baxter Springs. It's got exceptional grades on it, but we haven't got time to even put a drill hole on it. Board of Directors, Mark O'Day is the chairman. Moira Smith is responsible for all these discoveries, and I'm the president and CEO. With regards to shares outstanding, 206 million shares outstanding. The Van Eck Fund is new to the company, and with their warrants now own 19.56% of Liberty Gold. The RCF Fund out of Denver have given us a lot of capital, and with their warrants, they're at 14%. Insider buying, if you follow it on SETI, is consistent and doesn't stop. And you can see the sell-side banking groups who have coverage on us. This is how we do it. The geologists go out and same template. They find past producing mines that were run-of-mine operations in the 90s. The metallurgical box is ticked in all cases, and collectively, we didn't have to pay for over 5,000 drill holes in those databases before we unravel an oxide gold system that has to be Carlin type. It takes us approximately 2 years from acquiring an asset and figuring it out and doing the geology, reanalyzing thousands and thousands of drill holes, putting it in our models before we drill it. And today I'll show you the very first slides of the new compilation of the Black Pine project, and which is quite exciting. And then I'm just going to show you 2 or 3 slides on GOLDSTRIKE to start with. This is the PEA. So if you look at the map on the upper right corner, from tip to tip where the resource is in yellow, orange, and red, that's 7 kilometers. Anything in purple is not pit constrained because we did not have the permitting access rights to go into those gaps and draw some of that gold into a pit constrained model. So the deposit currently stands with a 7.5-year mine life. That excludes 20,000 meters of drilling and results from last year. So that's not in there. So that could add another year of mine life. And this is us pushing it past that magic number of being a 100,000 ounce producer with a minimum 10-year mine life. Anything between the 2 red lines of what looks like a whale's head here in the upper corner, that's the new plan of operations we received last fall, and we have now complete access to that area on a non-site or road-specific location. We can go in, set our drill sites, and bring those ounces together to make this into a good mine. The payback period is short, basically because the strip ratio is so low at 1.2 to 1. Anything between the 2 red lines, we project a 2 to 1 or less strip ratio. Outside of those red lines and the greenish overhanging tufaceous rocks, it's too thick and we're not going to waste our money in that location. And you go look at the grade of the deposit. It's 0.48. And you're going to say, how in the hell are you going to make money out of a 0.48 gram deposit? It's metallurgy and its strip ratio. It becomes an earth-moving operation as soon as these things get together. So if you take Bald Mountain, Round Mountain, Mesquite for Equinox, you can take Marigold for SSR mining. The average grade of a run-of-mine oxide heap leach deposit in the Great Basin is 0.52. We're at 0.48. The average recovery is 70.5%. Our recovery is 78%. And these PEA numbers do not reflect the byproduct silver production, which could add another point to the after-tax IRR. And if the gold price goes up, by $100 an ounce, this PEA study is almost on the nose. It goes up by 6% in after-tax IRR. That's what the numbers show us. Here's the metallurgy. This is why there's interest in the project. We get 80% of our leachable gold out of this system within 10 days. It cash flows like a dream. It's a very, very unique deposit. And the last slide on GOLDSTRIKE, this is 22 square kilometers between the two red lines, and we've drilled all around the crosshairs of this thing. We found oxide gold with an 83% success ratio. So life of mine does not seem to be an issue, but we should be able to get what we want for a long life mine within what looks like a whale's head there in the upper corner. Now to black pine. This is all new information, and this is a result of 2 years' work. Most people would have never seen any of these slides that I'm about to present. And it's a very, very unique, large discovery that, in fact, after the mine closed, when Pegasus went bankrupt on Mount Todd in 1997, this project sat unstaked for 6 years. Anybody driving down the road could have staked it. So this is where the location is. We're 6 miles from the Utah border. It is got road access, and there's power to site. And it's got a tremendous already built-in infrastructure for how this project progresses. We purchased the asset at Moira Smith's request in 2016 for approximately $1 million US. And we own 100% of the project, and it only has a 0.5% NSR attached to it. The new pictures. So this is what it looks like from the highway, miles away. The basin the image is taken from is from the dry part of the Great Salt Lake. No groundwater, there's no surface water on the property, and any groundwater goes into the old Salt Lake, and there's no environmental issues or fish or anything associated with this project. It also has the benefit of not having any sage grouse around, and the state of Idaho are permitting us to drill when we want. When the snow's gone, we're not limited to a set period of time for biological reasons. And the long section is an inclined longitudinal section. The brown rocks are basement rocks, the yellow rocks at the top are sandstone, and the permissive horizon for oxide gold to sit in is sandwiched between those two units. And here's what it looks like now after the data compilation. I'll go through a couple slides. These are about 1 kilometer long. You can see what's been mined. The true thickness of the permissive horizon is 200 to 300 meters thick on a property scale of approximately 12 square kilometers, where there are 1,866 historical drill holes that prove we are correct. So you can see the oxide that's left behind, and you can also see below it where it has to be drilled to the basement rock. So 95% of the historical drilling here is only down to 300 feet. It now has to be doubled in depth to put the oxide system together. And you can see all the high-grade oxide at the bottom. But to put it in perspective, that's 50 to 80 meter thicknesses of oxide. There's no sulfide in this system whatsoever. It's an all-oxide system. If you go look at the upper slide, the upper cross-section, you're seeing a calcite breccia. It's a blackish stockwork thing. When the old miners got to it, they stopped mining. Below it was the high-grade zone, and they missed it. And you can just see these are 1 kilometer slides. So now I'm going to change the scale on this thing and come at it from a few different angles. Now I'm going to show you 2.5 kilometer long images or cross-sections through this thing. This is what it looks like. That's 2.5 kilometers. You can see the oxide below the open pit. You can see undrilled soil anomalies from the top to the bottom, and we still have to drill to the basement on that. The next section is looking at it almost 1 kilometer away, coming back at it from a different angle. You can see the high-grade oxide there. You can see the amount of oxide unmined all over the place, and again, the middle of that has to be drilled. 3 more, and they're all 2.5 kilometers long over a 12 square kilometer area. This is oxide remaining underneath of mined, and you can see where there's undrilled soil anomalies. And I'm not going to go into each one individually. It just shows you the scale of this project and how big it is. And this is the last slide on this, is showing the gold that was left behind with only a 25-meter buffer around each pierce point of oxide gold above 0.3 grams that's left behind, surrounded by a multi-square kilometer soil anomaly that is largely completely untested, where the red squares, the soils are running 0.1 to 1 gram of oxide gold in dirt. And this is where it's all coming together. So the Idaho State Government, Federal Forestry Services, issued us a FONSI before the U.S. government decided to take an extended vacation. It's a finding of no significant impact. We need one more signature on one document, and our plan of operations is approved for this project for this year. And the first phase of drilling on this will be 100 drill holes to start pulling this thing in together over a broad area. So we're a few weeks away, we hope to get that, and then we'll do the road construction when it snows off, and then we'll start drilling it. And we'll be the only company in the Great Basin drilling 2 large oxide gold systems that have well over 1 million ounce potential each at the same time. This is what we have done and what we're planning to do, and I thank you for your time this morning.